Okay, so Jonas, thank you very much for talking to me today. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
My first question is, where did the name Big Z come from? Who gave you that name, Big Z?
I can't remember when it was started and who it was started. It was probably like around 15 years ago,
Okay.
or more. Just more and more
People using it, yeah?
use the Big Z.
Okay. But even you
nickname.
don't know who started it? No?
I don't know who started it.
Okay.
We have also in Lithuania a basketball player, and he is very tall guy.
Okay, yeah.
And in America he played in NBA, and his nickname also was
Big Z, yeah.
Probably because the same name, Žydrūnas, it's hard to
Yes,
pronounce,
to say it.
and that was the reason why I became Big Z.
So do people in Lithuania call you Big Z, or just the other guy?
No, it started not in Lithuania.
No.
It's in some foreign country,
Okay.
probably US or UK, because my name was Žydrūnas. It's hard to pronounce.
Yeah, for sure. And when did you first realize you were strong? When did you realize you were maybe stronger than the normal person?
Probably when I came to the gym and I started to train, and with my friends we trained, and I lifted much heavier than my friends.
At what age are we talking?
The first time I went to the gym, I was 13 years old.
13, yeah.
And I invite almost all my class to try to train in the gym, but the guys was lifting the everyday same weights, and I was lifted every day heavier and heavier.
Yeah.
So, and then I understood that I can be much stronger than a regular person.
And did you have something like in your family, like parents, grandparents that had strength as well that was unusual? Or?
My father and grandfather was really strong men. They not trained some sport, but they have natural
Like farmer strength, that type of strength, yeah.
And I did genes research, so I have some genes which is
Like strongman genes,
like strongman
Hercules
genes.
gene, yeah.
I have gene which is for strong back, so it's probably not only my training, but I have really good genes for this sport.
Meant to be. And just on that, if you hadn't gone into strongman, did you ever have a career in mind, like a normal career? Something you wanted to be or thought you might do?
When I was child, I was dreaming to be a sailor, pilot, some like
like this,
interesting
action type of thing.
action. But when I started to go to the gym, I start dreaming about be an athlete. And
Bodybuilder, powerlifter, strongman?
in beginning, I have dreamed to be bodybuilder because the strongman sport
Wasn't really
was
not popular.
it was not popular. It was we don't had the strongman sport in Lithuania, and only first competition we had 1990s.
Okay.
So it was very big show, and I was born in small town. It was like 15,000 people
Yeah.
lived, and we had first strongman competition. And crowd was 5,000 people.
Really? Big crowd.
Yeah, because it was name who is the strongest man in this town, and everybody want to see this competition.
Yeah.
And we don't had in that competition some real strongman events like we use nowadays. It was just pull some car,
Anything looked heavy.
lift some
move it
stone,
somewhere.
lift some sack, and push some big things. And it was not athletes from the strange sport. Even we don't had in my town powerlifting, we don't had weightlifting. So it was like
Just strong guys from the
basketball
gym.
player,
Okay, like
football
this,
player, some just strong guy from the village. So it was really interesting. This was like the borning of the sport. And
But a huge crowd, yeah.
it was huge crowd for that. That time was not lot of interesting events to see in Lithuania, so it was a really good time to start strongman sport.
And did you compete in that event?
No, in first one I was in crowd. I saw. I was trained in the gym that time, and when I saw that guy won who trained in my gym, and I lifting
More than him, yeah.
same weights, and I thought, oh, okay, I can win this competition, and I asked my coach, I want to compete next year, and I start use some strongman events for training, and next year I was 16 years old, and I competed in first strongman competition.
How did you do?
I won fourth place, so it was.
But you were against grown men.
I was strongest in that competition, but you need also have experience,
of course,
and this was the reason why I was fourth place. And also because the event was not squat, not deadlift, not overhead press
Not
that
true
time.
strength
It was
kind of thing,
some running stuff, so like very light strongman. But I was motivated. Even I was fourth, I was motivated for future to be stronger and train and to win the next year.
So fast forward like a few years, you were invited to World's Strongest Man in 1998.
It was first invitation, and I got that invitation just month before World's Strongest Man, because the guy who supposed to represent Lithuania got biceps injury, and I replaced him. I was preparing for World Powerlifting Junior Championship, and for me was I need to decide
which way to go.
I go to Powerlifting World Championship where I can win easy, because it was my last year in juniors, or I need to start my biggest dream to be the world's strongest man. And I decided to go to the world's strongest man and try. And all events was very new for me, but it was good experience for first time.
And that year, you didn't qualify for the final. Did it put you off, or it just motivated you to train more? How did you feel about that?
It was year when was 10 groups with 4 athletes, and only one first guy go to the final.
Qualify,
And we had only 4 events. It was first event medley. I won that event, so I won first event, and I was sure that I will go to the final. I was really strong that time, and but experience is
yeah.
also a big thing in the sport.
Who won that group? Do you remember?
It's a guy from the Holland, Berend Wenneberg.
Oh, okay, good.
And it was medley, I won easy. Then was the Atlas stones.
Okay.
And Atlas stones I first time saw.
First time doing it, a world
And I
strongest man.
first time touch after the judge whistle, you know.
Okay, yeah.
It's not the best way to try to lift Atlas stones.
Yeah.
But I lift 2 stones pretty fast, but with third one I dropped stone on my leg and injured. I jump, try to lift again, but it was not successful. And this injury cost me the final.
Okay.
The third event was the Hercules hold, which for Wenneberg is one of the best events. And the last one was tire flip. Tire flip is good event for me, was that time. And I was trained at farmer's walk and tire flip almost every day. So this was my favorite event. But because my leg was very bad, I even in the tire flip finished at the third, I think.
Yeah.
And I not went to the final, but it was good experience, and I was sure that next year I not go to the final, but to win. But 1999 I wasn't invited.
Yeah, so 1999 didn't go, and then 2000 South Africa you invited back again, and same thing, you went but you didn't qualify for the final. Yeah.
Yes, in 2000 I was really good shape. I was sure that I must be in the final, and I will be. But when I saw group, I saw someone new guy from the Poland, Mariusz Pudzianowski. He not looked very big and strong, and I saw that probably my way to the final will be easy. But in this group was 3 world's strongest men in the future.
Yeah.
Phil Pfister, Mariusz and me, and also Peter Baltus from Holland was a really strong guy. And
It's more difficult than you thought. Yeah.
I lost again in the stones. Stones cost me again the final. In my heat started raining.
Slippery stones, yeah.
And was slippery stones. And 1 point was not enough to go to the final. So the start in World Strongest Man was really hard and terrible.
Yeah.
2001, I was best shape ever, and I went to the Faroe Islands to compete last competition before the World Strongest Man, and I was leading against former World Strongest Man, Janne Virtanen. So I feel really strong to
in preparation for the
for preparation, and was looking forward to the World Strongest Man in Zambia 2001.
You had the Conan's wheel, yeah?
Yeah, Conan's wheel got injured, and in that time I saw that my career is finished.
Yeah, I mean, you say you got injured, you blew out both knees, yeah? Both your patellas went, yeah? I mean, that's a horrific injury.
Yeah, I probably, it was worst feeling in my life. I was lying on the floor, I'm not feeling the legs, I don't understand what was happening with me.
Yeah.
But after a few days after surgery, I start thinking to train again.
How did you come back from that injury, 1 at all and 2 so fast? What do you think you had, like your secret, a way you did it? It was some form of exercise you did, or you just were sensible and rested a lot. How did you manage to overcome? Because like you say, in theory, that could have been like career ending, but you seem to come back. I mean, a year later, you'd won the Arnold, so...
It was not easy come back because the both knees was injured. I can't train anything, so my legs was skinny. I lost a lot of muscles and a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But I did just normal rehabilitation. 4 months was just...
You had like a great coach that talked you through that, or it was just yourself? You found ways? Because
I had coach. I have the one doctor who helped with tips for me how to train. First 2 months it was total rest, only training shoulders and arms, and then approximately 2 months was just stretching to get full motion in knees. And 5th month I start to squat with my body weight, and then add empty bar and start
Slow
little
progression,
bit progression. And after 9 months I competed in my first powerlifting competition after injury. I did in total 150 kilograms less than my personal best, and I won Lithuanian powerlifting championship by 2 kilograms. It was really big fight to win Lithuanian powerlifting championship. A year before I won like 200 kilograms, and after injury just 2 kilograms against second.
what was your
place.
total around then?
In 2000 I had total in the APF World Powerlifting Championship 1020 kilograms,
Okay.
and in that Lithuanian championship after injury I lifted 870. So it's 150 kilograms less.
I know it's like speculation a bit, but had you done powerlifting full time, maybe in your prime years, let's say sort of 2005, 2010, have you ever had a number in your mind, like a total you think you could have done in powerlifting?
I had the mind for sure that I'm to lift 1,100 kilogram, more than 1,100 kilogram, which was Bill Kazmaier world record. And I was really close to that. Before this championship, where I won silver medal in APF, I did in training 1,060 kilograms.
Okay.
But it was my first trip to Asia, to Japan, different time. I can't sleep 3 nights before competition, so I feel really bad, and it's a little bit. I lost in my result some strange.
Would you say that not your weakest, but of the 3 lifts, your least good was the bench press? Is that fair to say? Or not? What's your top max bench? 270 in powerlifting?
270 in APF, 270 kilograms.
Do you think you could have got to like a 300 bench?
With this bench shirt, I bench at 320.
With bench shirt,
but raw, I think 270 was my max. Probably if I train at 10 more years powerlifting, maybe I can bench 300. But
you think
because it was my bench press was good, but squat was always the best exercise for me.
And you mentioned about in your rehab stretching flexibility. How important do you think flexibility is in strongman? Because it seems like some athletes make a big thing of it, like Martins Lissis, for example, now, and other athletes are pretty unflexible. So, you know, some guys place importance on it, some don't. Do you think it's like a vital part of strongman?
it is very important. Uh, the axle overhead lift shows who is flexible, who is not. A lot of guys can, after clean, to touch the axle to the chest, and you can rest. But if you're not flexible enough, then you need to hold the
hold the bar there. They can't actually rest with it.
Your shoulders and triceps
tire
is
very
working,
quickly.
and tire it.
Yeah,
so
makes sense.
I was really flexible. I not focus on flexibility, but I was naturally flexible. Now I lost some flexibility, and for me now, when I cleaning axle, I still resting on chest, but not so comfortable
than before.
Than before. But in all events is important flexibility, because it's mostly it helps for your result, but also it's prevent injury.
Yeah. And then going forward a little bit more, you went back to World's Strongest Man, and in 2002 the Arnold Strongman Classic started. Were you not invited in 2002?
Yes, because 2001 I not competed in World's Strongest Man, which was way to qualify.
At that point.
At that time, Arnold Classic had formula that first and second athletes from World's Strongest Man go through the Arnold Classic.
So that was Sven and Phil Pfister, I think, that year.
And then they inviting America's Strongest Man, athlete from weightlifting, athlete from powerlifting,
Raymond's Babanas, these people.
And this was just 8 athletes in the first Arnold Classic. And then second also was 8 athletes. So, and 2002, when I won second place in World's Strongest Man, I was qualified for 2003. But 2002 March, I still was very weak, because it was
overcoming
just
that injury
2 months
still,
after injury. So even I had invitation, I can't compete.
When you saw the 2002 Arnolds, did you think, or this is my type of contest, it's more static, more heavy?
When I first time read about Arnold Classic that Mark Henry won, and I saw events and good prize money, I say, oh, it's good competition for me. Good prize money and very good events. And 2003 even was better events for me. It was. I know results. I saw results, and I did all records in training. So I was sure that I will win this competition. I came to win.
How do you think you would have done against Mark Henry? Because it was kind of disappointing that he just did the 1 year, went back to the wrestling, but it seemed like he, at that time, maybe Sven Carlson and Mark were the only 2 guys that could have competed with you at static. But do you think Mark Henry could have competed with you if he had carried on in Strongman? He had like that huge natural size and obviously won that year. What's your thoughts on if he had?
It's hard to say. I think he had good chance to compete more years in Arnold Classic and do well, but I think I was stronger in that kind of events. I just focused on his results, and I lifted in training heavier and more reps, so I was sure that I stronger in that event, but never know.
And then at World's Strongest Man, you had a couple years of being runner-up to Mariusz. Were you frustrated? Did you feel that the events were too endurance-based, or did you just feel Mariusz at that point was stronger at you at a higher level? What was your kind of feeling about that?
The shame that I was much stronger, but events was more suitable for Mariusz. It was a lot of moving events.
Yeah.
Almost no static events, or if it was static events like deadlift or low
reps,
press, it was for reps and not very heavy.
Yeah.
Not like in Arnold Classic 200 log for reps or 166 axle for reps.
So were you slightly kind of frustrated that you felt like you were the strongest, but the competition wasn't necessarily determining that?
I was sure that one day I will win.
You'll get there anyway.
Even in this kind of
format,
events,
yeah.
because I was also fast and I have good stamina. So for me, just need more time. But Arnold Classic, it was just made for me. It was very good events, and I was sure that I will win and win this competition for sure. In competition, you never know. Some injuries and you can do some mistake. But I was all these years was stronger, much stronger than other athletes in deadlift and squat and in this static events.
Was that for you, maybe, like, looking back, your biggest moment winning the Arnolds in 2003? Because it kind of confirmed you really were the strongest and it was your first major title.
It is main victory in my strongman career because it first big international competition which I won. Also, it was the best athletes and very heavy events. So you can't win that kind of show just with some luck, or you need to be really strong, because when you go to event, and for some athletes it's 10-20 kilograms heavier than personal best. For them is really big challenge, and you go and lift like 5 reps. So this shows how strong you are.
I mean, it seemed like they almost created a problem by having you there, because they needed the weight to be that heavy for you to lift it, but you were doing, for example, 5-6 reps, or 6 reps I think on the Apollo. A lot of the guys couldn't...
8 reps was most.
Okay, but a lot of the guys couldn't even clean it once. And I remember after you had stopped there, they had to bring the weight down again, because otherwise everyone was watching. But it was almost a problem where there was you dominating, but after that everyone was just watching everybody, not even lift.
Very fun was when I lifted 2 years in a row, 205 kilogram log for reps. And year when I stopped compete, I think was 185 or 190 for reps, and it was less reps, not 4 reps, it's 2 or 3 reps.
So it's literally going backwards. But that's how far you were ahead of the competition. And then perhaps the worst thing that happened in Strongman was we had the IFSA and World's Strongest Man split. Why did you go to IFSA? How did that come about? Obviously people, really yourself, Virustra, Koklaev and Mariusz were probably the 4 strongest guys. 3 of you went to IFSA, just Mariusz stayed at World's Strongest Man. Why did you go that way? What was your reason?
Because it's not only 3 from 4 went to the IFSA. 23 guys from 24 strongest guy at that time went to the IFSA. And my reason why I went to the IFSA, it was I always wanted to compete against strongest athletes. And all guys went to the IFSA, so I went because I want to compete with them.
Mikhail Koklaev said exactly the same thing. If you want to be the best, you have to compete against the best.
And everybody who went to the IFSA we saw that IFSA will be bigger and bigger because they have big plans.
Yeah.
And second reason, because it was more sport. They decided to create standard events with standard equipment where you can fix the world records.
Okay.
And I had already a few world records, and world records for me was also one of the reasons that I want to train in
Okay. Yeah.
and lift more and more in the events
Yeah.
where we can fix the records. Also, competition was like sport, not like filming. When you go to World's Strongest Man, it's
Like a film set, yeah.
it's like a film set.
Yeah.
Cameras ready, then you go to compete. In the IFSA World Championship, it was cameras was ready always.
Okay. And it was about the competition,
It's
and the cameras
all
just
about the
picked it up.
competition,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting.
And also, and the fourth reason is bigger money. It's
guaranteed money, yeah.
It's guaranteed money. Every 24 athletes, we have like 3 different groups, like gold, silver, and bronze.
Yeah.
The gold athletes get $100,000 contract, which in that years
Big
was
money
really
then,
big
yeah.
money.
And I take it you were a gold athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was also one of the reasons, but not the important. The one is important reason was I want to compete against the strongest.
And what was Mariusz's explanation for not going with you guys, for staying at work? Did they offer him a lot more money just to stay there and be the poster boy, or do you think he didn't want that competition? Did he tell you why he didn't go?
With Mariusz is a very interesting situation. I think that he also want to go to the IFSA, but he was banned at that time from competition, from World's Strongest Man, and I think he was angry about this. So it was, I think, just bad time
Okay.
and
So maybe some arguments with the promoters. And
yeah, and maybe one reason also, which I not really know 100% everything, but he had a contract with Matrix.
Matrix, yeah, who were the
And
sponsor of
Matrix
World's
was
Strongest Man.
sponsoring World's Strongest
Yeah.
Man. Probably this was the reason
Okay.
why he need to compete.
Okay.
But what I hear that Mariusz was angry on World's Strongest Man also, and he doesn't want to compete in World's Strongest Man also,
Really?
because they not paid money for
Oh yeah.
2004.
4 was it? Yeah.
But finally he decided to
Stay there, yeah.
to go to the World's Strongest Man.
Well, that's
And if not,
interesting.
Mariusz went to the World's Strongest Man, but he stayed in IFSA, maybe we have different.
Yeah, history would have changed a
History.
bit. Yeah. Well, that's interesting though, because most people think, you know, he didn't want anything to do with IFSA because of the competition, but actually maybe he would have gone if it wasn't for money, sponsors, and
I think it was just personalities things,
yeah.
and also the Matrix contract. So it was only these two things.
Interesting. And then, so obviously you won 2 titles at IFSA while you were there too.
2005, 2006.
And always the big question is, there's big asterisks over Mariusz's World's Strongest Man wins, because if Big Z was in World's Strongest Man, you would have beat him. Honest opinion, do you think it would have been kind of 50-50 between you and Mariusz, or you really think by then you had improved enough to beat him, or how do you think that
No,
would
it's I beat Mariusz 2004 in World's Strongest Man. I was second. He was third.
It was third, yeah.
And 2005, I was more stronger than 2004, and I was sure that I will start win World's Strongest
Okay, that's
Man
when you felt
also.
you really, yeah.
In 2004, I was supposed to win also, but I got injured in the sumo event. I injured my foot ligaments, and I did all final events with very big foot injury. And it was track pull, farmer's walk, and super yoke.
All worse things for you.
And wheelbarrow with injured foot. So it was really bad events. Only squat was good for me, where I not feel pain in my foot.
Yeah.
And I lost just 1 point to Vasily.
Okay.
And
So you felt those were your titles to win if you had.
I felt that 2005 nobody can touch me, and it was in IFSA World Championship. I won really easy. 2005.
What's your own explanation as to why your strength was just going up and up, far above everybody else? Do you think it's just a genetics? Do you think that you had a different training routine, different diet? Do you feel like you know something they didn't? Or
Actually, I don't know. Maybe I always thought that I can lift what I want.
Okay.
And every year I lifted more and more and more. And even when I was 40 and 41, my strength was growing. And not like slower. But same every year I add same.
Because most people after just a few years hit that kind of plateau, but you didn't.
And for me, in beginning of career was more plateau than later. I had big problem. I remember when I competed in powerlifting, 270 was really big plateau for my deadlift. And after I broke 270, I immediately got 300, 320, 40, and then my results was growing every year.
So you never had a limit in your head.
Never,
You always just felt.
never. I was always believer that I will lift it, and it's helped me. I always believe that I will lift, and I always believe that I will win competition. And I won, I think, 90% of competition which I competed. So it was some. I feel that like somebody helped me, you know. It's interesting because after I got injury in my neck, I lost.
That's from the super yoke at the Arnold's, was it?
I lost some mind that I can lift everything what I want.
That was the first time that you actually
and
thought.
then
When was that?
I tried to lift and it's heavy. So I lost this. And I don't understand why, because it was like just cut.
That was 2013, was it?
2015.
15, was it? 15,
I still won 2016 Arnold. I did the world record in log lift, but I felt that it's getting heavier, the weights.
First time,
And it's not about age. It's all about that
injury.
That injury.
So, a lot of people always ask the question about your diet and your weight. You seem to be able to put weight on quickly and also lose weight quite quickly. And I think you tend to put weight on building up to a comp, and then maybe a week or two out, you like to lose, I don't know, 5-6 kilograms. Is that
sometimes 10?
How do you do that? People are interested how you manage to put the weight on and lose the weight quite quickly. Do you have some specific routine that allows you to do that?
When I training very heavy, I want and I need to eat a lot food, and the weight and strength is growing really fast for me. And I just eat more, and my body weight is growing. It's also in genes because it's for me easy to gain the weight. But if I eat clean, the weight is going down very, very quickly. And also is very, strange thing, but my strength is growing very fast, and after competition, if I rest a little bit, not eat enough, the strength is going very quickly down also. So,
so you have to get that right to make sure you peak at the...
But also interesting thing that I always, in most important competition, in competition day, I always was in peak.
Okay.
So I was feeling my body, how to get peak in exactly that date when I need to.
You always got that right.
Yeah. All competition I was in peak.
Okay.
And week later I can't lift 20 kilograms less.
Okay. And I see quite often in your training, you're using a Smith machine. Is that after injury, or has that always been something in your training?
It's after injury.
It is it just a safety thing?
In IFSA World Championship 2006, I injured my left shoulder. It was a pull-on axle. I won that event. I lift, I think, 205 kilograms, something like that. Maybe it was world record.
Yeah.
But I injured something in my left shoulder. And before that, my main exercise to build shoulder strength was pressing barbell behind the neck.
Okay.
Not standing position, but seated.
Seated behind the neck, barbell
And
press.
when I was good shape, 200 kilograms, 5 reps.
Yeah.
I was flexible, so for me was not problem to press behind the neck.
Yeah.
And then after that injury, I tried to do behind the neck, and my shoulder felt not good. And then I decided I will try Smith machine. And then I start to use the Smith machine, and it works really good for me. And I use in Smith machine 250 kilograms.
Okay.
So it helps to build also good strength.
Right. And about shoulder press, what do you think the reason is that nobody is managing to still match your world record in the log press? Do you think they don't train in the correct way, or it's just the strength that they just don't have that power that you have there?
It's also very hard to understand. I not find this answer why I was so strong in that event. Probably I was build my strength with this pressing barbell behind the neck.
Yeah.
Because 205 reps to do in seated position, you need to have really strong shoulders.
Yeah.
I think it's harder to beat than my world log lift record. And this 228 is not my result what I expected to lift.
Okay.
My plan was to lift to 35 to 40 kilograms in log lift. But neck injury just few months before, I was planning to lift that, my best lift in my career.
Had you ever lifted more in the gym or not?
No, I athlete who lift heavier in competition. In all events, I can do in competition 10% more.
Okay.
I say, because I have problem with shoulder, with my neck, week before I lifted world record. I lift only 205 kilograms.
Okay.
Normally, my best training result was 220. So this means that I was not in good
yeah,
shape
yeah.
at all. But I lifted that world record because I was very motivated, very concentrated, and I pushed myself to 120% because Arnold was watching
yeah.
my world record.
Yeah, in Brazil, yeah, he was right next to you there. Yeah.
I very heavy lifted 215 kilograms. It almost was not good lift.
Yeah.
But for 228, I pushed myself 120% and I lifted it.
What do you think you could have maxed out at in the log? Because these days they do all these world records, there's specific competitions. In your whole career, that wasn't a thing. You just got your records in comp, so you never got the opportunity to train for a max deadlift, max log. Where would your focus been on the log? 240 plus?
Yes, this competition where I lift 228, it's supposed to be my special lift. I was after Arnold, so I have 3 months, and I was planning to prepare for this lift, but everything went not by plan, and I not reached my strength, which I was planning. My goal was 240, but.
And what about, obviously again with a deadlift, there was no such thing as, going for deadlift world records. Do you feel like you could have got to the 500?
I was sure that I will lift many world records in deadlift. I was holding, last my world record was 442.5 kilograms, 2011, Arnold was strongest man. And 2014 or 13, I got injured very badly my hamstring, and then lower back, and this cost me my strength in deadlift. Before that, I was really I never lost in deadlift before that. In different kind of deadlift, even it's for reps or it's for max or it's Arnold Classic tire deadlift, I always was really strong. But after the hamstring injury,
that limited it a bit.
And the neck injury was second big thing to lost. I say probably deadlift was stronger than overhead press. Because
it's pretty crazy. And now all the talk from Strongman is the Thor and Eddie boxing. It's big news. Some people hate it, some people love it. Do you think it's good for Strongman or bad or indifferent? What's your opinion about that?
I never judge. I think it's good things and it's bad things. What we will see in everything in our lives, in the world, we have two sides. I think it's bad for sport because the sport lost 2 athletes. They are going to boxing. But it's good for sport because they will promote more strongman sport. So this you can balance. So
and have you got an opinion who you think might win?
It's very hard to say. I can if you ask me who will win strongman competition, Eddie or Thor, and I see events, then
you know.
Answer 99.9% who will win. But in this match, I can't say. I think it's interesting on this boxing match because we don't know who will be stronger in the boxing match. It'll be interesting.
And I want to ask about psychology. Obviously, we see what you're lifting and things like that, but where do you go in your mind before you're going to go, for example, for a max log, a max deadlift? So Junior Savickas, in his head, where is he? Is he angry? Is he calm?
I little bit angry, but not like crazy, not like running and grab. But always I want to stay calm and very clear mind. So no minds at all in my head.
Okay.
And in my inside, I believe that I will lift. So
Okay.
this belief is most important thing.
Okay. So you're just focusing on that lift happening, the bar going above your head, or like that. But your mind's pretty clear, just on that lift.
Yeah. No,
You will.
if you go to lift and start to thinking something, then you not lift. So it must be really clear.
Okay. Whenever I interview athletes, I always ask them, who's the best strongman of all time? Who's the greatest they competed against? Everyone has the same answer, Big Z. So here I am asking you that question. It's probably difficult for you to talk about yourself, but you're widely considered, in my opinion, and most people's, that you are the greatest. But of the people you competed against, or even the people you've watched over the years, in your opinion, who would you list as maybe 2 or 3 of the great sort of strongmen?
Probably the strongest guy I compete against was Brian Shaw.
Okay.
Because he almost doesn't have the weak
No weak events either, like you, yeah.
and I was stronger in squat, in overhead lifts, and deadlift before injuries. But in other events, we have like 50-50%, and I need to push myself really hard to win Atlas Stones against him. So he had really strong events.
Yeah.
And he was main rival in Arnold and in World Strongest Man. So he was good in all kind of events. Mariusz was really tough guy
Mentally,
to compete
psychology,
against, because he like myself, he can lift what he need to lift. Like myself, I competed always. Okay, you lift 8 reps, I will lift 9 reps. So you lift 200, I lift 205, and it was impossible to beat myself. But Mariusz was really crazy, and in that kind of events, which was more running events in Most Strongest Man, he was really tough guy to compete. But if we look to the Arnold Classic, he was 5th, 6th, so it was not in the top guys. So it's very different, these two guys. But I think these two guys was
most difficult. Do you feel like Bill Kazmaier would have been like a great strongman? 1, if they didn't ban him, and 2, maybe in a later era, your era, because you and he seem to have some similarities in terms
Yes, I think we...
so far ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, I think Bill, if you ask me who is the my favorite strongman all time, who is the strongest, I say the Bill Kazmaier.
Okay.
But because you ask who
your
I compete against, so I never compete against, I can't say. But top 3, it will be Mariusz, Bill Kazmaier, and Brian Shaw.
Do you feel, last point now, do you feel like the sport is going in the right direction? Do you feel it's progressing the right way? Or is there things, like a few key things you would like to see change to help the sport?
I think the sport is going to the right direction. When I start do strongman, it was only open class, only for men. Now we have many weight classes.
Yeah.
We have women competition. We have juniors. We have masters. So the more countries is involved in the sport. So the sport is growing really fast.
Yeah.
All the ways. More people interested in sport, more athletes compete.
And what about World's Strongest Man format? A lot of people don't like, for example, the way they do it, where they have like a stone off in the heats. Do you think you've been through so many different group systems where you have 10 heats and one goes through, you have just 5 heats, 2 go through, all different formats. Which for you is the best format? Or a final with more events? What do you think?
I think better if World's Strongest Man use more events.
Okay.
More events is easier to find guy who is the
Overall
strongest,
yeah.
and you can make events for some person which you want to win. If you have 10 events or 12 events, so everybody will have good events, everybody will have bad events, and will win the strongest. I think should be more athletes in the World's Strongest Man,
Yeah.
more events, and no this stone
round,
because it's only one event. We must find who is the World's Strongest Man, but not the best
Not by one stone.
Atlas stone lifter.
Yeah.
So this, I think it will be changed. So I had competed in very different formats, but always, because it's TV show, not just sport.
Yeah.
The TV always want to
Of
find
course.
more interest to keep watching the show until the last minute.
Yeah.
When you see the points and two guys are already in the final, the people
Not interested in
stop the watching.
Yeah. Who, in your opinion, will be the first person to break your log press world record?
It's very hard to say.
I mean, maybe Luke Stoltman looks closest.
At this moment, he is closest. He tried already 3 times. One time was really close.
Yeah.
But we have also Iron Bibis.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's strong in the real competition, but in training he looks really strong.
Yeah.
And also Bobby Thompson from US.
Yeah. Just broke the US
He
record.
break US record. He is, not competed like 10 years, so he is getting stronger.
Yeah. A few
maybe-
people, but not sure who. Yeah.
Maybe these 3 persons.
Because if you had actually trained for it and got to 240, it would be years away before anyone was
It
looking
was
at
my
that
plan.
record. Yeah.
My plan.
Yeah.
I never prepared for some record. All my world records, which I done 70 or 80 in my strongman career, it was just because I feel good in competition. I lift world record, but I never prepared for lifting some special world record. And my plan was to lift 240 and to keep this world record for many years.
The rest of your life, which I think you would have. Yeah.
But injuries is injuries.
You've had the best ever career in strongman. We shouldn't look back. We should, accept what's being. But any regrets, even if kind of small regrets, a competition or something you didn't do in strongman? Any regrets at all, or are you happy with how it's all gone?
I say I am happy with what I done. I done much more than I expected before I start this sport. My dream was to be one time world's strongest man. I became few times and I won few times Arnold Classic. I won a lot of competitions, so it's much more than I expected. But from nowadays, I know that I could won more World's Strongest Man titles, at least, and also Arnold Classic titles. So
Okay, so even though you
not
won
8
so
times,
many,
but 10 times Arnold Classic. But it's not big changes.
No, of course.
Or you 8 times Arnold Classic champion, or you 10 times. It's not big change. Probably the one thing what I missing is that I don't try world record in log lift when I was best shape.
At your peak, yeah.
When I lifted in Arnold Classic 205 kilograms 4 reps, I think that time I was ready for 240.
Yeah, that's huge, yeah. Do you think that the athletes are doing something not quite right and that's the reason they still haven't basically caught up with the strength you had? Do you feel there was something in your training, your preparation that you did, that you do, that athletes are still missing? Or you just feel it's like a God-given strength that you were able to work with?
I think everybody train right way.
Okay.
It's a lot of things is psychological. I was always
No limits.
know it, that I will win, I will lift. So I was believe 200% that I will do.
Yeah.
Probably this is most important thing.
And the last question, the future for you. You're going to do the Shore Classic, which is a major competition. Are you ever going to do World's Strongest Man again?
Never say no, but I don't have in my plans to compete again in World's Strongest Man and Arnold Classic. But never know. If I feel that I really good shape, why not to compete one more time?
Yeah. Okay.
But
and any
it's not big percentage.
Okay. Any motivation to do your own, like Big Z Classic with all the main competitors? Any motivation for that?
I do every year a Savickas Classic competition, but Lithuania is pretty small country, very small market, and Lithuania is hard to promote big competitions. But Savickas Classic have good names on champions. I won first 2 Savickas Classic. Konstantin Janasha won. Ivar Šmaukštelis won. Rauno Heinla won.
So really good names.
It was not so bad. Some years we had good competition. 2 years ago I had pretty good athletes, but one neighbor from Latvia, Didzi Zariņš, who was really good shape. He is 2 years ago champion. Ivar Šmaukštelis last year, but it's maybe one day it became bigger competition. But I every year do, and this year will be 10th.
Okay.
Savickas Classic competition.
And do you plan to do more masters events?
I am on the list for Master World's Strongest Man, and probably I will compete at good events. It looks good events, and I am preparing for that.
Yeah. Okay. So we might still see you at World's Strongest Man. Never say never, yeah?
Never say never.
Okay, well, I think we've covered most topics. I just want to thank you very much for your time. I can say it, I know you don't like to talk about it, but you're the greatest ever in our sport. You're the Michael Jordan, the Muhammad Ali of Strongman. And I think just on behalf of everyone, we just want to thank you for the inspiration you've given to so many strength athletes. You've set the bar so high. You've given people belief of what can be achieved. So yeah, just a big thank you on behalf of me and everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.